G'day everyone, welcome back to the Short Ball podcast, where it's now Jersey Flegg and New South Wales Cup finals time. National Schoolboy finals just around the corner. Got a heap of stuff to talk about. Now we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you sort of get your podcasts. So that will sort of be beneficial for us now, and I can start to do these things more regularly, and hopefully it becomes a weekly thing, and that's sort of my goal. And for now, throughout their finals here, I'm going to be doing preview podcasts. On Monday, I'm going to release a sort of podcast talking about the National Schoolboy Cup final as well. I'm going to cover a little bit of that in today's episode, but not too much. Most of this is going to just be sort of Jersey Flegg and New South Wales Cup finals, with that on the weekend at Leichhardt Oval all day. First game kicks off at 11 a.m. That will be Panthers versus Bulldogs in Jersey Flegg. And then we're going to get to New South Wales Cup. I think the next game is going to be, as I get that up now, next game will be Warriors Panthers at 1 o'clock. And then we're going to be getting the next Jersey Flegg game, Knights Sharks, 3 o'clock, and then at 5 o'clock, final game of the day at Leichhardt, Jets v Raiders. That's all on the Saturday, this coming Saturday, 7th of September. Make sure you head down to those because there's some absolute guns coming through, and this is sort of the future of your club, whichever team you follow, the ones that are in the finals anyway. Works as a top 5. I'll just give you a quick rundown of the system for both Jersey Flegg and New South Wales Cup. So the final system plays out the same way, top 5 for both of them. First place, the minor premiers get a week off. So minor premiers were the North Sydney Bears and Canberra Raiders in the respective competitions. So Bears for Cup, obviously, with them not having a Flegg side, and Raiders for Flegg. Week 1 finals. So this weekend's finals in New South Wales Cup, Jets v Raiders and Warriors v Panthers. The Jets v Raiders game is 2nd v 3rd. So the winner will verse the Bears next week. The loser will verse the winner of the other game. So the Warriors v Panthers winner will go through versus the loser of Jets v Raiders. The winner of that subsequent game, out of the two scenarios I just described, will then go through to week 3 and verse the loser of Bears versus either Jets or Raiders. So it's a little bit of a confusing system at first. I've got something up on my Instagram. You want to go have a look at that. It's all there for you. I've sort of explained it as simply as possible over there with like a little graphic. So if you are confused with that explanation, hop over to Instagram, have a look there. Jersey Flegg, same system, except Raiders are first, so they're the ones with the week off. Panthers v Bulldogs is the 2nd v 3rd, and then Knights v Sharks is the 4th v 5th. We'll start off with Jersey Flegg, obviously, with that being sort of the first game of the day will be Jersey Flegg, so we'll start off with that. Obviously, the under-21s competition, they're talking about revising that, making it a national youth competition again, televised like what it used to be with our Toyota Cup, which is exciting from a content perspective, but I shared my thoughts on that the other day on Instagram. Don't know how and if it would work, logistically speaking, but don't need to get into that. Panthers v Bulldogs, first game for the Panthers. We'll go through their team list real quickly. Jackson Edgar out the back. He is the star of the future. A lot of hype around the kid. He was the Harold Matthews Player of the Year last season in a stacked Harold Matthews. He had Casey McLean in his side. He won the Harold Matthews Player of the Year over him. He won it over Mitchell Woods and the like. So he is going to be one to watch in this one. Gerard Lydiard, I hadn't sort of seen as much of him, or I hadn't really paid too much attention to him until this sort of Jersey Flegg season, and he's impressed me. He looks really quick. He scores plenty of tries, creates a lot of space. Looks like a good player. Angelis Otero Papali'i, he's been around Panthers for a while. Gun. Samuel Lane, been good this Flegg season. I like him. Nick Murphy, done a little bit of Flegg, done a little bit of Cup. Impressed up in Cup. Jet Cleary, obviously Nathan's younger brother. Blake Moore, I'm going to talk about him a little bit in the preview for this game once we get into that. But I like the look of him. Jacob Vailalo, Zach Lamont, Siatame Hansen, Aston Warwick, good player. Look out for him. Riley Wake, Billy Phillips, Jensen Tuau, Hokafonu Lamoto, Judah Nullavow, and Lachlan Blackburn. That will be the 17 for the Panthers. And then for the Bulldogs, Tay Cochrane, Geordie Mazzoni, Danny Gabriel, William Afualo, Jonathan Sewer. Sewer and Mazzoni, I put up a highlights reel yesterday on my page. Make sure you go check that out on Instagram. They're two very talented players. Joseph Tuapa, Cassius Tia, Jack Underhill, Ruben Moyle, Damon Marshall, Luke Smith, Jed Reardon, Callum Donaldson, Patrick Young, Fami Toilalo, Ragarivi Wavik, and Larry Mwaga Tutia. Apologies if any of those pronunciations were wrong as I was going through that. So this game, second v third, I'm two teams that you can't really get a gauge on how the Jersey Flegg competition is sort of going because it's never the same two teams. But last time they met, I was actually out at this game in the pouring rain. It was an absolute slugfest, and the Bulldogs came out on top. And I thought it was a pretty fair indication of where they were at because it was two sort of near full strength sides. So Bulldogs came out on top 10-0. It was an absolute grind. I actually thoroughly enjoyed that game. The middles done a really good job for the Bulldogs, and I think they will do a good job here. Jack Underhill and Damon Marshall are guns, and they'll spearhead this forward pack. They were both part of their SG Ball campaign last season, and Jack Underhill's played a fair bit of cup. He was close to making his first grade debut not long ago. Really big body with a good motor, has a good offload in him. I thought he sort of started off his cup campaign a little bit slowly, but he's really come into his own now, and I like the look of him. Damon Marshall, he played in the under-19s Origin game last year. He's only 20 at the moment. He's sort of been battling away in Flegg, but doing good things there. Hasn't really got much of an opportunity up in grade, and I'm not sure what is holding him back at the moment, but he's a big body forward, sort of plays a bit of prop, bit of lock, just somewhere in the middle. He's going to be one that I think maybe they're taking their time with a little bit, which I respect that. And with forwards, you have to take your time, especially big bodies like he is. Ruben Moyle, he sort of came through. I heard he was an outside back. He was really zippy, and then he's moved into the hooking role and done a really good job over the last 2 years. He was part of that Jersey Flegg winning side last year. He's got a really good work ethic, plays big minutes usually, but does have Patrick Young off the bench there, who is also a quality player, part of the Bulldogs SG Ball runners-up side this year. So those two really good sort of 1-2 strike in that hooking role. But I would love to see a little bit more of Ruben Moyle this final series, and I'll be going to be keeping a close eye on him because he's impressed me a couple of times when I have gone out and watched him. That 1-5 for the Bulldogs speaks for itself. I mean, Danny Gabriel, older brother, I believe, of Michael Gabriel, who you saw in that under-19s Origin. He scored a really impressive try the other day in Flegg. Got the same sort of attributes as him. He's a centre as well, sort of robust, powerful, and quick as well. He's got a really good top speed, so he's impressive. Geordie Mazzoni, another absolute speedster out on the wing. Jonathan Sewer, really agile, powerful. He's going to be one to watch in this final series, especially like Mazzoni and Sewer. They've mostly been playing Cup recently. Sewer's played pretty much all season in Cup, with the exception of a few games here and there. So he's one that's going to come down here, and I think he's going to thrive up against his own age group again. So those are the guys you want to sort of look out for the Bulldogs. As for the Panthers, touched on him before, Jackson Edgar. He's always sniffing around the ruck, always creating plays. He is a little bit of a smaller body. He's not going to create as much work out of the backfield. He does get his hands on the ball a lot, but he's not the type of fullback that's going to start your sets off incredibly well. But what he will do is he's always there in support play. Scores plenty of tries where the halfback will go through and finds him in support, or just any sort of thing will happen. Forward pushes through, gets an offload and whatnot. So he's a special player. Blake Moore, now he sort of goes under the radar a little bit for this Penrith Panthers jersey Flegg side. I went out and watched him. So I've watched the Panthers jersey Flegg side probably the most, because they're the local side to me and there's no streaming for jersey Flegg. I've watched him a few times, but I got out to a game against the Knights a couple of weeks ago where I really got to watch him up close for the first time. Most of the time I'm sort of a little bit back from the field, but watched him and he was just under the skin of some of the Knights players early on. He was doing a lot. He was hands on the ball, everything. He played a game sort of midway through the season where I thought he was the best on ground by far, because he just gets involved constantly, always creating opportunities for his back rowers. Love to throw that short pass, but he has a whole range of different things in his arsenal, passing game-wise, running game-wise. So I think he's going to be the one for the Panthers side. He's not necessarily one that you look at and go, that's a first grader. But he's one that you look at and go, he's going to lead this Flegg side around, and he could be the difference, a bit more of a mature head. He's playing 7 with Jet Cleary, who's a little bit raw, bit green for mine. So he's going to be so vital for Cleary to be able to play his best footy. And he's going to be really vital for his forwards as well. Billy Phillips, gun, played New South Wales Cup for a big part of this year. I like the look of him, real hard worker, tough sort of lock there. Aston Warwick, another tough player out in the back row. He sort of goes under the radar a little bit, but I've liked the look of him in the games that I've watched. Zach Lamont playing 9 is interesting to me, because he is a 7. He's got a really good kicking game, but I think with the makeup of this side, it probably works best. I'd nearly have Blake Moore 6, Zach Lamont 7, but with Jet Cleary in the side, they're probably trying to find a way to fit him in, and it does have, Jets playing this in the 6 jersey, Blake Moore in the 7. I'll probably find that they will play an opposite role, where Jet's sort of doing the kicking, and then Blake Moore, he'll probably do a little bit more of the creative stuff. In saying that, he'll probably have to game manage as well, just to take a little bit of pressure off Jet. But he's always hands-on. He's sort of like, he's not the same build or the same type of footballer, but similar to Lockie Galvin in sort of the footy nous that he has, and the amount of touches he'll have. So, ones to watch out for that Panthers side. Next game, well, actually, what I'll do for each game is I'll just do a tip, and I'll do a matchup that will decide it. I think the Bulldogs will win this game. I really like their forward pack. I think they might just be a touch too tough for the Panthers pack. Panthers bench, Fonu Lamoto, he's only young, but he looks like an absolute star, finds plenty of offloads, and never seems to get them wrong. Jensen as well, off the bench, they're a really solid player. But just the upfront power with Underhill and Marshall, I think, might be a touch too strong. Bulldogs won the whole thing last year. They don't have the exact same side, but they do have a couple guys returning from that side, which always helps when you have a winning system and whatnot. Their bench looks a little bit light on for me. Wavick, he usually plays in the back line. Patrick Young sort of comes on as that hooking role. So that's a little bit of concern for mine. But just on paper, they look a stronger side, and especially with those guys that are returning from Cup. So I got the Bulldogs winning in a tight one, maybe 4 to 6 points. But the matchup that will decide it for mine, Cassius Tia, he was part of the Roosters side. He took them last year in Jersey Flegg to the grand final. It was also really good in SG ball for the Roosters over the last 2 years. His matchup with Blake Moore will probably end up deciding this one, in my opinion. I think the 2-7, they're both wearing the 7 jersey. They're going to be having to put on plenty of attack for their side. And I do think the Bulldogs win through their forwards and whatnot. But They say, forwards probably decide the outcome, the backs decide by how much. So Cassius Tia, it's going to be a lot on him. And then Blake Moore, it's sort of going to be on him to make sure that his forwards are keeping up, and then to make sure that they do capitalise on their attacking opportunities in good ball. The next game, Knights v Sharks, obviously at Leichhardt, as with the other games. This one, though, is a little bit later. It's at 3 p.m. The Knights have absolutely stacked their side, so they look really, really tough to beat. Fletcher Hunt, Logan Owaki, Connor Vitano, Kyle McCarthy, Sasaya Latu, that's the back five. Hami Loza playing 6. Liam Sutton returns from Cup to play 7. Sebastian Sewer and Paul Bryan are the front rowers. Jacob Davis at 9. I like the look of him. He's sort of played well in Cup the last few weeks. Elijah Slesa, Liam Moana, Jermaine McEwen, Miles Martin. Round out the 13. Then Malachi Smith, Rory Whitby, Jack Hillier, Bailey Carmichael. That is a side for Jersey Flegg level anyway. And then you got for the Sharks, Ateni Tokamo, Christian Dixon, Michael Gabriel, talking about Danny before, this is his brother Michael Gunn, Talanoa Penatani, Tawihi Wateri, Taj Ford, Riley Pollard, Lachlan Jake Crouch, Chaz Jarvis, Celesi Atata, Max McCarthy, Dylan Coots, Samuel McCulloch, Taj Brayley, Felix Fartilli, Richie Tupua, Ele, and Ethan Cocker. Again, apologies about the pronunciations there. And also just shoot me a message too if there's any pronunciations incorrect. Just let me know. That sort of stuff helps. With this, but in this game, look, I think the Knights will be too good for the Sharks. The Sharks are riding a wave of incredibly good form at the moment. They scraped in with a win over the Warriors, I believe it was, last game. The Warriors, so they won 20-4, scraped into the finals. Insane effort from them. They've won their last 6 in a row, and they had the bye in the middle of that, and they've put on absolutely huge scores in the process of doing that. So they're riding the highs at the moment. They've won 8 of their last 9. So that's a dangerous team in Jersey Flegg, especially a team that's stuck together, and most of this side is similar to what it has been all year. So those are the sort of sides that are dangerous in this competition, but they are coming up against a really strong Knights side. If there is a weekend that I can see the Knights getting picked off, it is this weekend, because it's a lot of guys that haven't played a lot of footy together in recent weeks, just because it's half a cup side and half a Flegg side. Like Hami Loza and Liam Sutton haven't played a whole heap together. Kyle McCarthy's been playing New South Wales Cup all year. Sebastian Sewer all year, New South Wales Cup. Elijah, Jermaine McEwen's played a bit of Cup, bit of Flegg. Jacob Davis is the same, bit of Flegg, bit of Cup. So in key positions and key players, they haven't actually played a heap of footy together. Whereas with the Sharks, that is the danger. A lot of their players in key positions have played a lot of footy together this year and have been really good. Taj Ford and Riley Pollard will be the ones I look to in this game. Taj Ford looks lightning quick. Riley Pollard's always been a gun. He was at Panthers. He was an Australian schoolboy last year. He'll be really, really important to this side. Only 19 too, so plenty of development to go. So one to look out for there. Max McCarthy, I don't oppose. He's going to the Rabbitohs. Go have a look at some of his highlights. He looks like he doesn't have a lot of highlights where it's like, oh wow, look at this kid, he's a gun. But super hard worker, really powerful, has a good build. So he's going to be one to look out for once he joins the Rabbitohs. I think that's a really smart signing there. Michael Gabriel, touched on him before. He's going to be a good player if he tightens his defence up a little bit, which I haven't seen a lot of the Sharks this year in Jersey Flegg. So maybe he has. And he was pretty solid in the Queensland game, in the State of Origin game rather, for New South Wales, barring one sort of misread. Where Tyrese Tate scored in the corner, but that also wasn't entirely his fault. So that's going to be one to watch there. He's got all the attacking upside in the world, only 19 as well. He was playing SG Ball earlier this year. So, yeah, plenty of talent with Michael Gabriel. So definitely going to be one to watch out for there. But yeah, for the Knights and why I think they're going to be too strong, and if they win this game, I think they could go on and win the lot. Like I'm currently looking at, I think the Bulldogs and Knights are probably the two teams to beat, as long as they don't run into each other, which they shouldn't. Because I think, so Bulldogs win week 1, Knights win week 1, in my opinion. Bulldogs v Raiders. As long as Bulldogs get the job done over the Raiders in week 2, they won't have to meet each other at all. So that's sort of what I'm looking at for a grand final preview. This night side, the only change I would make is I'd be putting Vitano to fullback, which he sort of does. He done that mid-game the other week. I can't remember who he was versing, but he got halfway through the game and he switched to fullback and Fletcher Hunt went to centre, I believe. So that's the one change I'd make, because Fletcher Hunt, I rate him as a footballer. I've said this on a podcast before. I'd like him as a 5'8". As a fullback, though, I'm a little bit concerned with his sort of defensive stuff at fullback. He's also had the odd missed tackle and whatnot at 5'8", but he's probably not as... It's probably better for the side to have Vitano at fullback, because especially like Vitano's an absolute freak. Plenty of support play, creates plenty of attack, great passing game on him, big body. He's serviceable at centre, but he's a better fullback, and Fletcher Hunt is a better 5'8" than fullback. So that's what I'd be doing. Hunt, whether you put him, you do need to probably find a spot for him in the side because he's a good footballer. Whether you put him at centre, or whether you just roll with Fletcher Hunt, Hami Loza. I know Liam Sutton's the better player out of them because he's been playing Cup this year, but also I don't understand why some of these guys are allowed back to play Flegg, considering a lot of them have just been Cup pretty much all year, played very minimal games for Flegg. Kyle McCarthy in particular, I think he's played 19 games in Cup this year. So I'm not sure what the eligibility... Oh, he's probably played more, and he's played NRL as well, obviously. So I don't know what the eligibility is to play Flegg in the finals, but there you go. And then off the bench, Jack Hillier, Malachi Smith playing SG Ball over the last couple of years. Jack Hillier was playing Harold Matthews last year. Those two look like guns. And then Jacob Davis as well, the starting 9, who's holding Malachi Smith off on the bench. He's been playing Cup, playing very good footy, so... I just think on paper they're too strong. Sharks can gather a little bit of momentum and be dangerous and potentially knock them off. So I'm not counting them out, but Knights on paper look the better side. And then Sharks, with the eye test and whatnot, and with the momentum, they're probably a danger side, but Knights for me in this one. New South Wales Cup. New Zealand Warriors, Panthers, Jets and Raiders taking place at Leichhardt. First game, Warriors v Panthers. For the Warriors, Tane Tuipiki, Setu Tu, Mawala Graham Talfa, Ali Leotawa, Edward Kossi, Luke Hanson, Paul Roach, Tom Ale, Micaiah Talfa, Bunty Afoa, Jacob Laban, Leka Halasima, Kalani Going, Geronimo Doyle, Tanner Stowers-Smith, Zion Maeu, and Eddie Iremia. Wow, that is a side for a New South Wales Cup team. That is insanity from 1 to 17. Anyways, moving on. Penrith Panthers, Isaiah Iongi at fullback, Eels recent recruit. Asul Kapoa, Tyrone Peachy, Casey McLean and Jesse McLean will line up on the left edge. Dane Laurie, Sonny Luke in the halves. Jordan Grant, Luke Summerton, Austin Diaz, Maverick Gaia, Zach Lipowicz, Luron Patea. And then off the bench, Billy Scott, Nico Apello, Preston Ricky, and then Harrison Hassett lines out that 17. For this one, I think it's the Warriors, the team to beat here, and this is obviously an elimination game, being 4th v 5th, pardon me. So I think Warriors will go through. I've watched pretty much every Panthers game this year, and they started off on absolute fire. They were 8-0, then they went 0-8 through the next 8 games, and that's large parts to do with their side being ripped apart, whether they're going up to NRL or coming back to Flegg or getting injured and whatnot. So they've had a lot of trials this year. They scraped into the finals with a win this week. Last week, sorry. To just scrape into that 5th position. I think they haven't been going good enough to knock off a Warriors side that presents as strong as this one does. I think the biggest loss for them has been Trent Tolau on the halves. He was on fire through the first 8 weeks, and then they've just sort of chopped and changed halves for the rest of the year. Dane Laurie is a big plus to this side at 6, but he was a little bit quiet last week. Isaiah Yongi was their best last week, though, and I think he's really experienced at this level now, this New South Wales Cup level, so he could be a real difference maker for the Panthers, but it's hard when you're coming up against a side like, I'll just go through them one by one, like just on paper as I look at it. So Tane Tuipiki, Isaiah Yongi, really love Isaiah Yongi, think he's going to be huge for Para, but as of right now, Tane Tuipiki's the better footballer. Setu Tu and Asu Kapoa, both sort of high-level New South Wales Cup players. I'll probably give the point to the Warriors. Setu Tu that's a tough one though. Moala Graham Talfa, he's played a little bit of first grade this year versus Tyrone Peachy. Tyrone Peachy had an absolute blinder in the first half for the Panthers last week. So I'll give it to him as well as the experienced head. But Ale Leotawa versus Casey McLean. Ale Leotawa, reigning centre of the year in New South Wales Cup. Casey McLean, only fresh, only raw as a player, going to be a superstar. But Ale Leotawa, as of right now, is better on paper. Ed Cossey, Jesse McLean. Ed Cossey just with the NRL experience and whatnot. But again, Jesse McLean will become a really good footballer. Those two are under 19s, the two McLean brothers. So they're going to improve. But on paper, as of right now, you're taking Leotawa and Cossey over them. Dane Laurie, Luke Hanson. Dane Laurie, although Luke Hanson is a gun footballer, but he's another one that's on the rise. He's only 20 years old as of right now, so going to be one to watch for the future, but not right now against Dane Laurie. Sonny Luke, Paul Roach, both 9s playing in the halfback jersey. Sonny Luke's been really sharp in the 7 jersey when he has played. Been probably one of the better players in New South Wales Cup this year, so I'll take him. So what's that? That's 4 points to 3 Warriors way. Tom Ale, Jordan Grant, Ale, Mackay Taufa, Luke Summerton, just Afoa Diaz, Afoa, and this is where it blows out in the forward pack. Laban Gaia, just Halasima, Lipowicz, Halasima, going, Patea going, just. Patea's going to be a star. He's played a little bit of NRL this year, but going just, and then off the bench, like Geronimo Doyle over Billy Scott, Stowers Smith over Pelu, Mayu over Ricky but Ricky has been going really good this year. Zion Mayu's just a personal favourite of mine. And then Eddie Idamia over Hassett as well. So that's just a testament to the strength of the Warriors side. Panthers just scraped in. They weren't convincing at all last week. They actually nearly sold that lead to the Bunnies. They were up 32-12 or something like 32-18 maybe, with 10 minutes to go or 5 minutes to go, and it ended up being 32-28, and they were probably lucky to hold on. Rabbitohs probably should have scored in the corner, but there was, I think, an error from the winger. So, that's Warriors for me in that one. I've sort of gone through the players. I just went through 1 to 17 every single player, so I'll move on with that one quickly onto Jets and Raiders. Now, this game is the final game for New South Wales Cup and final game of the day, and this one is an absolute belter. I'll just have a look at these two teams. on paper, gun. They've been absolutely killing it this year. For the Jets, no Samuel Healy, which is a big out. He's missed the last sort of month and a bit of footy, which is disappointing. But he's a gun. Not in this side, though. Not this week. Not relevant. The back five is what stands out for me for the Jets. They're missing Maween Hiroti, which is a big out. But Liam Ison, Tom Rodwell, Chris Villa-Ila, Jordan Swan, Samuel Stone Street. Now, Samuel Stone Street might be the only one that really sticks out to you if you don't follow as much New South Wales Cup and you're more of an NRL fan. But Liam Ison made his debut for the Sharks, was solid in that debut, but he's been one of the best fullbacks in Cup all year. Tom Rodwell, he's not a huge name, but he looks like he's just got something about him. Really good out of yardage, really good finisher, strong in contact. Looks like he's got a bit about him. Chris Villa-Ila, been one of the strike centres in this comp. I'm currently in the process of making my New South Wales Cup Team of the Years, and he's certainly up there for mine in that centre position. Jordan Swan, I haven't seen as much of him, which is sort of I don't know if it's a downgrade from Maween Hiroti, but that's sort of where their back five, which is usually probably the best in the comp. Without Maween Hiroti, it's just lacking a tiny bit, but Jordan Swan could come out and absolutely kill it, and I'm keen to see how he goes because I haven't actually watched him before. So that's that for the Jets back five. Nephi Peru, he's been one of the form sevens in this comp, and without Adam Cook for the Raiders, who was the New South Wales Cup Player of the Year, obviously, he's going to be really important. His kicking game's really good. Game managing is really good from that 7 position. Off the bench, Billy Magoulias, going to be an absolute cracking watch. That he's just entertaining to watch whenever he takes the field. Like, it's sort of a shame his NRL career hasn't panned out the way a lot might have thought it would, but fuck, that's going to be such an entertaining watch when he gets onto the field. Jets forward pack, Tuku Tapua, he's going to be good as well. Really big body, just damaging whenever he gets back to this level. Jordan Liu has been really good. Billy Burns had a game not long ago where he just absolutely lit them up. I can't remember who it was against, but would have been sort of around 11 or 12, and scored multiple tries, had line breaks, had try assist, all this and that. And he's one to watch in this one. He's obviously played a fair bit of first grade by now, and that's probably a name that's known to most of you. But yeah, that's a really strong side for the Jets. They finished second on the ladder, so they get the obviously extra chance. If they lose, they just verse the winner of the 4th v 5th game, which I think will be the Warriors, and the Warriors are going to be a tough matchup in this finals series. For the Raiders, Chevy Stewart, Nick Kotrick, Mitchell Spencer, Princeton Isira, Jed Stewart, Mania Waiteri, Mitch Henderson, Emre Gula, Zach Wolford, Jordan Martin and Noah Martin, Joe Roddy, Hohepa Peru, that is the 13. And then Owen Paddy off the bench, recently named Jersey Flegg Player of the Year. Peter Holler, Peter Tateo, and Jackson Lavender line out that 17 there. One guy that I haven't spoken about a lot on my page, but I've just been quietly watching him, and I just love the look of him. When he was playing in the centres, he reminded me a bit of Matt Tomoko. He's just got all the skill in the world, has all the physical attributes in the world. Mania Waiteri, just an absolute freak in that 6 jersey. Plays a bit of centre. He's played a bit of fullback as well. He's going to be one to look out for because he could break this game open. Chevy Stewart is having a super season. Everyone saw it. He was Flavour of the Month earlier in this. He was Flavour of the Month earlier in the season when he was in big Rookie of the Year talks, and everyone sort of got a little bit excited about him just because he was the big thing on the rise, and now they've forgot about him because he's playing Cup all year. But He's put together a superb season. I think he's been a top 3 fullback in Cup. So I think he's only going to improve, and he only is improving. He's only 19 at the moment. So he could have played SG ball earlier this year, but instead he was in NRL talks, played NRL, had an absolute stinker against the Broncos, which was unfortunate. But I like the way he's gone about his footy this year. As compared to previous seasons where it was sort of the guy, he's had to sort of earn the ability to play footy now. Now that he's coming up against a man, and he's really done that. His carries have been much better this year. And the way he's scoring points or creating points is sort of more productive to becoming a first grade player, whereas some of the stuff that he used to do in SG Ball and Howard Matthews and that was just freak stuff that you just watched and go, you can't do that. Like, you just do some stupid, not stupid as in like dumb stuff, but just stuff that you just wouldn't believe you'd see from a fullback. But yeah, he's been really productive this season, which I like. The two Martin boys, they're absolute lunatics on the field. I love it. I love watching them play. They're going to be keys in this one. Hohepa Peru in the lock jersey. He's been the best lock all year. Cannot believe he's not playing first grade. Makes 50 tackles a week just for fun. Gets through a heap of work. Has good, solid ball playing anyway. And Paddy, he was Jersey Flegg Player of the Year. I can't ever say he's been one of mine, but in terms of a guy that I've really hyped up, or a guy that I've looked at and just gone, yeah, he's going to be a star, but he just keeps ticking boxes, and I think very keen to see how he goes in this final series. If he steps up in that 14 role, which I don't know, he gets big minutes with Wolford playing 9, obviously an NRL proven 9, but in the minutes that he does get, if he does stand up and play well, he's definitely going to be one to watch there. In this game, this one is extremely tough to pick. If I just look at the forward packs, like, there's not much separating them. Like, you got Jordan Martin, Emre Gula compared to Reece Dakin and Tuku Hautapua, which is just a fairly even matchup. Like, you can't really split the two. Jaden Beryl, Zach Wolford, again, even. Back five, I'll probably give it to Jets. But in terms of the ability to break the game wide open, the Raiders just have more of those guys. In my opinion, Chevy Stewart, Nick Kotrick, Manaia Waititi. Whereas I look at the Jets side, and you got Liam Eisen, Vieira, Jaden Beryl can do a little bit, but it's sort of been more Samuel Healy who's been the game breaker in that hooking role for them. This one could be an absolute cracker. I reckon it could probably honestly go to Golden Point. It's that close, too close to call. I'm going to go with... actually, earlier in the year, they did play out a draw 28-all, which is an absolute cracker. Liam Eisen scored the game that the try that sort of tied that game up right at the end. I believe that was Eisen's game. No, Eisen, yeah, it was... Oh, no, it wasn't Eisen's game. But they did play out a draw, and it is very close to call. I'm going to go with the Raiders just on that game breaking. Like, I think Chevy Stewart, Manaia Waititi could just come up with a play that ends it. And I know I've said that about a couple of the Newtown Jets boys, but it's just... There's just a different level with some of these guys. And like Nick Kotrick is a former rep player, played for New South Wales and whatnot, and was... So watch for him to do something big in this game. And the Raiders did beat the Jets earlier in the year as well, pretty convincingly. I know it's different sides, but just the Raiders in that big game. All right, that's it for sort of New South Wales Cup Jersey Flegg. What I will do is just quickly touch on sort of a review for the state finals. So obviously it was Patrician Brothers Blacktown took on Endeavour Sports High. That game was really entertaining for about 50 minutes, and then Patrician Brothers Blacktown ran away with it. Oh, I should say 40 minutes, because they're obviously 30-minute halves. Josiah Arkey was the man of the match in that one. I personally gave it to Fine Fale, so what I will do, 3-2-1, so like a Dally M points voting system, for my best players in those games, and sort of just a quick sort of how the games went. Patrician Brothers Blacktown, their forward pack's too good. Endeavour came out on absolute fire. Blacktown looked rattled. They looked tired. I thought their right edge in particular looked extremely tired, and was sort of getting picked apart a little bit throughout that game. But as it turned out, they sort of turned it around. Jacob Hallengar, who was good as usual. And it was, I think, Fine Fale was their best in the first half, despite it sort of was tight in the first half. I think it was 12-10 heading into the half, or something along, 12-all heading into the half, rather. Very tight game. Fine Fale was the best for Patrician Brothers in that time, and then he broke the game wide open with a huge run. Found Josiah Key in support, who ended up scoring the try. And then he was just good from then on as well. Like, he had a try assist after that, and had a couple of really key involvements for that side. 3 line breaks, 2 try assists, 1 line break assist. Josiah Arkey, 2 line breaks, 1 try assist. So that's my 3 and my 2. Fine Fale, my 3. Josiah Arkey, my 2. And then my 1 from Endeavour, Blake Watman. He's really impressed me this final series. Him and Caden Garner have sort of been my 2 to watch for Endeavour this final series. And Jamie Curran off the bench. I thought he was solid, but it was probably his quietest game of the finals. But yeah, Blake Watman, he scored a try, had a couple of barnstorming runs in that first half in particular. In the second half, it was tough for Endeavour to get any sort of momentum back. So he'll get my 1 point for that game. The other game was Kerwin High versus Palm Beach Currumbin, and I thought Kerwin were a little bit hard done by in this game. But in saying that, Palm Beach were the better side coming into it, and I did think Palm Beach were going to win it, but Kerwin put up a fight, and it was 18-14 with, I think, 15 minutes left to go. It was a real dogfight in that second half early on, and Kerwin had a player sent to the bin for a late shot. I believe it was a late shot, because I was watching the replay. It wasn't high, it wasn't anything. He was a little bit late, and got sent for 10, and I haven't watched it since that day, so maybe if I looked at it with a clear view now, I'd go, yeah, okay. But from that point, like, Palm Beach scored 2 tries in that ensuing 10 minutes, and Palm Beach scored 2 tries in that ensuing 10 minutes and put them away, which was a good win for them. 26-14 was the scoreline by the end of that. Sonny Karma, really good game from him. He impressed me a lot. But one of the guys that actually mostly impressed me from Palm Beach, who I hadn't seen a lot of, but it was Jai Billish, the hooker that came on. Him and Rocco Billish really turned the tide for Palm Beach at one point, because Kerwin looked like they were going to win it. They were up 14-12. They were on fire. Logan Brooks, Takoi Benioni, they were absolutely flying. But yeah, Palm Beach, too good in the end. Jai Billish, I thought, was a big reason for that turnaround. Marley McLaren looked okay in that 6 jersey. I thought he was their dominant half in terms of impact on the game. Raymond Puru scored that first try, and he looks really sharp. I think he was with the Burleigh Bears this year in Mount Meninga Cup and impressed me in a couple of those performances. Sam Stevenson, good as usual. But my 3 points in this game would go to Jack Finnegan. I actually haven't seen who won man of the match in this game. I was sort of watching the game live as I was working, and didn't really get to stick around to see what happened after in terms of presentation and whatnot. But Jack Finnegan would be my 3 points in this game. And then Isaac Harrison as well. I didn't touch on him before, but he had a real captain's knock. Scored a game-breaking try in that first half. Or not a game-breaking try, but a try that sort of dragged Palm Beach Currumbin back into the lead. Sort of just barreled over, hit and spin, got over. Extremely hard worker. Sam Stevenson was good. But yeah, Jack Finnegan, my 3. I'm going to give Jai Billish me 2. And then Logan Brooks has to get points. Actually, I'll swap Billish and Brooks. I'll go Brooks the 2 and Billish the 1 point, because Brooks, he's going to be a name to remember. Threw a mad cutout for the first try, had a half break that led to the next try, and then just scored an insane try off a trick play as well to put Kerwin ahead at 1 point. So that was good from him. He had a really standout performance there. Taco Benioni was another good one from Kerwin. I spoke about him before. But yeah, Kerwin had a pretty good side. Like I was impressed with them this final series. And then Palm Beach Currumbin, though, they're just too strong. They've been really strong for the last few years, and they're only going to get better. Like they'll have Zane Harrison come back into the side, and I think this Pats Blacktown versus Palm Beach game is going to be an absolute cracker. But I'll do a preview for that on Monday. So when the game's on Wednesday, I believe, September 11th, I'm going to say. Yep, so Wednesday, September 11th. So that's going to be an absolute cracking game, and I can't wait to do the preview for that. But that's me done for today. And I'll probably do a review podcast and then a preview of the national final, and then from then it's just going to be review previews, New South Wales Cup, Jersey Flegg. I'll be at every single one of the games for New South Wales Cup and Jersey Flegg, except for maybe week 3. But week 3 I will be watching them. We'll be covering them. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Check out Spotify, whatever, wherever you get your podcast. Do whatever you got to do there. I don't understand it really, but do whatever you got to do there. Comment, like, whatever, subscribe, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all that. Thanks.